Hi, my name is Kayla and welcome to this channel and to my very first video. I just kind of want to spend the beginning of this video talking about what this channel is really going to be and what kind of videos you can expect going forward. So this is going to be a Christian channel and I intend to post things to help inspire and give people hope, especially during this time. I want to post videos kind of talking about my personal relationship with God and share some things that I think may help other people. So that's pretty much what it's going to be. And if you are interested in any of this, you can go ahead and press the subscribe button and press the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post new videos. So getting into this video, as you can tell from the title, this is going to be about how to grow closer to God during the quarantine and how to really utilize your time. So as you all know, this is a very crazy time. None of us really expected this. The government was taken off guard. We were all taken off guard by this completely. But this is not a surprise to God. As you know, He knows everything that has happened in the past. He knows everything that will happen in the future in every single person's lives. So maybe, just maybe, this is a time that He wants us to really pay attention to Him and to focus on Him, and this is really a perfect time that we can spend to grow closer to Him. So the things I'm going to be talking about in this video are just some things that I personally intend to be doing during the quarantine, and hopefully you can take one or two things. So yeah, and the first thing is probably the most obvious, and that is to watch an online service. Now, hopefully the church that you're currently going to, if you were going to a church, has an online service. And if that's the case, then you just need to go on their website and you can watch the service from home. Pretty great. Mine has one, and I can just get in my pajamas on Sunday and just watch the service. So that's pretty great. Now, if your church does not have an online service, this could be a perfect time for you to explore other churches within the community. You can watch another service every Sunday if you want to. You can also go on the internet, and there's so many churches worldwide. My favorite church is Elevation Church. The pastor is Stephen Furtick, and he is amazing. I watch him every week, even before the quarantine. He's a really good one. So if you don't have an online church, or if you just want a little bit more, I would suggest watching him. But yeah, church is very important for our relationship with God. It's a way that we can learn more. We can dig deeper into the scripture and learn more about His word. So even though we can't physically go to church during this time, it is still very important to make church a priority. And if you haven't been going to church, now is a perfect time. You can watch online. You don't have to worry about going to church or anything. You can just watch online from the comfort of your own home. So very much encourage that you are doing that. Then the next thing is to try to stay connected with a community, with a church community, just with other believers who are on the same path and who are having a relationship with God. So maybe you were currently going to a small group and then that got canceled and you just kind of feel very isolated. So during this time, there have been a lot of churches. My church is one of them that has online small groups. So hopefully your church is one of those, or maybe just another church around you where you can go online and you can join one of those small groups. Even if they've already started, I highly suggest you do one of those. You could also start your own. All you really need to do is just get a couple of friends online together, Skype or Zoom or whatever you want to do it. And it could also just be, it could be a Bible study. It could just be like a conversation. It doesn't have to be an actual small group. Just conversation with other friends or believers, where you guys can really have that time to just talk about how you guys are actually doing and help inspire one another, and just see how one another is doing and help one another. Community is very, very important with your walk with God, because we were never intended to do any of this alone. We need other people. We need other climbing partners to help us. So even though you can't physically be with other people, I definitely think that you try to make that a priority during this time. Maybe if you've never done it before, try to do that. Try to find something online, or just start something new with friends. But I really suggest that you do that, and it will really make a difference and help you grow closer to God. So the next thing is, what is the next thing? The next thing is helping people. So as Christians, as you know, we are called to help people. We are called to love one another. And so you may be thinking, how am I supposed to really help other people if I can't physically be with people right now? I can't give them a hug, I can't see them, come to their house, or actually help them with something. But right now is definitely still a time that we can be helping people, and a time that we really need to be helping people more than ever before. So one of the first things I have is kind of funny, but I do think it is very important, and it is to not hoard things at the grocery stores or at Walmart. I know it is very easy to want to go and get as many things as you can for your family, but I really suggest that you just go and get what you need for this week, because you never know. There are so many people that may not be able to afford to get as many items as you can, and they're just trying to get stuff for 1 week, and they go there and they can't find it because you took it all. So next time you go to the grocery store, just have that in mind, and remember that by doing that, you're actually helping somebody, and helping them to be able to have what they need for their families. And then the next thing is to sanitize areas. Now, if you are still going to work, I would suggest cleaning and sanitizing, common areas, or in your apartment place, if you have roommates, doing the living room, sanitizing that area more, or just in your apartment building or wherever it may be, any common areas that you go to, if you are able to do that, I would suggest sanitizing those, because that can be a lot of work during this time. People they have come in and sanitize those, and so many people are touching them and all of that, so why not help out a little bit and sanitize them? So then the other thing that I have is to just inspire people and to be reaching out to people, and I think this is the most important way that we can help people right now. There are so many people who feel that they're going through darkness, and also imagine all the people who don't have God in their heart. This can be a really hard time for them. So as Christians, we really need to inspire them, to help them in some sort of way. Even though we're not physically there with them, there are still things that we can do. We can go on Facebook and we can post something inspirational, post something about Jesus, just something positive amongst all of the sad and crazy posts that we're seeing every day. Try to be that positive light. You can also just reach out to a friend that you know is sad, or somebody that is sick. It is always very important to try to do things like that, and I think it will really make a difference during this time if we are staying very positive. So yeah, there's always something you can do to try to help people, and I really encourage you to try to do that during this time. Then the next thing that I have is to get rid of distractions. So you may be thinking, I don't have any distractions right now. I'm at my house by myself and bored. I don't have anything. So that's kind of what I thought too, going into this quarantine. I thought I was going to have so much time to, really focus on myself and to focus on my relationship with God. I had all these things planned out that I was going to do, but I ended up, sitting on my phone most of the time, scrolling through Facebook or on YouTube, or watching TV and, whatever. So I suggest that during this time, maybe you try to control a little bit of what you're watching and what you're letting in, especially with the news and with all of these things. It can really affect us. And it can just really also affect our relationship with God, and to keep him from coming in to us as much as he wants to, because you're not giving him enough space. So actually, it's kind of ironic, but a little bit before this whole coronavirus and everything happened, I decided to delete my Instagram. And what kind of led me to do that was because, for one, I was on it way too much. I felt that I had all these things planned that I was going to do whenever I would get home from work, and I would get maybe one of them done. And I started realizing that was because I was spending too much time on these apps, particularly Instagram. And not only that, but I noticed that I was really comparing myself. And sometimes I would realize I wasn't even doing it. So I would start to, delete different accounts and things that I felt were not a good influence to me. That was my way to try to control it, but I was still doing it. I was looking at other people's lives, and I was comparing myself to it, and like thinking my life wasn't as good as theirs, or something like that. And I would always get off of the app and just feel sad or feel less fulfilled. So whenever I decided to delete the app, I actually haven't missed that at all. I felt that I've been able to actually focus more, be more present in my own life and in the people's lives around me that I physically present in my life. I felt that I was spending way too much time focusing on other people's lives and being in other people's lives, and we are not meant to do that. We don't need to live anybody else's life. We are meant to live our own lives. So that's just a personal thing that I did that and it worked for me. Maybe you don't need to delete an app completely, you just need to control it a little bit. But maybe this could be a time for you to really discover, maybe you have something like that too, where you're on it too much, and this could be a perfect time for you to try to limit your time on that. And also, this is just a time where we are very, very hungry, we're vulnerable, we're sad, we're scared, angry, whatever it may be. And so we are more likely to go to these apps, go to TV, go to, whatever it may be, to get something out of it. We're scrolling and scrolling, and we're trying to get something because we're hungry. And then we get off of these apps and we're just left less fulfilled than we were before, and more empty, because there's nothing on there for us that is going to help us grow. I mean, there are things, if you're using it correctly. You can definitely use those things correctly by watching positive YouTube videos, just looking at friends and things like that. But if you're somebody like me, it's very hard to do that, and you get caught in the trap where you're just looking and scrolling and looking at things that probably are not helping you. So if you're doing that, you're getting a lot of emptiness, and it's not making you feel any better. So that's kind of why I suggest trying to limit that during this time, so you can really put more focus into your relationship with God and allow him more room and space to come into your life. And so that's just one suggestion. Not saying you have to do it, but that's just something that I've personally done and has really helped me a lot. Then the next thing I have is quiet time with God. And this is probably my favorite thing. When I first started doing my quiet time with God, I didn't really like it all that much, to be honest. I wasn't really getting much out of it. I would just read the Bible, and then I would listen to some music or something in like a quiet space, and I didn't understand why it wasn't working for me. Like, I didn't really get much out of it. It was hard for me to do it. And so what personally worked for me was, I realized I really needed something to like stay connected, stay busy during that time. I created like a prayer journal, and I'll write in it different Bible verses. I'll put sticky notes in it. I decorate it, things like that. It really keeps me active, and it's just a fun and creative way for me, and really helps me to be more engaged in my quiet times. And I realized since I've done that my quiet times have gotten so much longer, and I've gotten a lot more out of them. But quiet time is really just something personal with you and God, and it can be anything really. Like, it's just what you want to do during the quiet time. It can just be prayer, it can be you have a journal like I do, or some people have like prayer walls. And if you haven't ever done one before, like really had like your own personal quiet time, then now could be a perfect time to do that. Get creative with it. I would suggest going on Pinterest. There's so many different posts about suggestions for prayer journals or warrior journals, or just like people will make like these cool little prayer spaces, quiet spaces and stuff. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, there's all kinds of things like that, and I just encourage you to get creative with it. So another thing about quiet times is and this is kind of just a personal choice, but I like to do mine in the morning, and not just during this quarantine season, but I've always liked to do it in the morning. And that's kind of because, if you have a job where you're with children all day, you're a nurse or a teacher, or some type of job where you don't get much time for yourself, where your job is really helping other people, I think it is really important, or I think it's really great to have that quiet time in the morning, because that's your time with God. That's your time where he's pouring into you, and giving you the juices and the knowledge and everything that you need to go throughout their day so that you can pour love and kindness and everything into other people all day long. And I've noticed such a difference whenever I do that in the morning from whenever I do it in the nighttime and stuff. Like my day is completely transformed. And so yeah. But it doesn't have to be in the morning. It can be really whenever you want to do it. Like I said, it is your personal thing with God. But I do think it is very important. It's a really great time for you to be quiet and to listen and to, talk to God and to pray and whatever it may be. I think it is very great personal time with God and really important for our growth. So yeah, and also one other thing I would suggest is to maybe try planning out when you're going to do it, or just have a set time. Like I said, I tried to do mine in the mornings, but during this quarantine, because I've had so much time, I kind of felt like I didn't have to do it first thing in the morning because I had so much time. I could do it later on. I would do so many other things and then I would just forget about it and I wouldn't do it. And I see a huge difference whenever I don't have my quiet time with God, especially if it happens like multiple days in a row or weeks. I definitely feel I don't feel like I don't have that closeness with God. I feel a little bit distant. So that's just something that I personally do and that have worked for me. So the next thing I have is prayer. And as you probably know, prayer is probably one of the most important things. We go to God and we pray for him. We pray to him, and he can work miracles. We've seen it happen all the time. And one thing that I've kind of noticed that I personally do in my life is that I will worry about something a lot, or I will think about something a whole bunch, and then I'll just kind of be like, okay, God, why haven't you done anything with this? And it will be because I haven't really prayed about it. And not saying this always happens, because there are times when God can grant something for you or help you with something even when you haven't prayed about it, because he knows our hearts and he knows what we need. But a lot of times he wants us to come to him in prayer, and I just forget to do that. So if this happens to you, don't worry, you're not alone. It happens a lot. So I just encourage you during this time to really try to just pray as much as you can. There is so much we can pray about. We can pray about the people around us. We can pray about our friends and family, people who are sick. And also one thing is, a lot of times people feel like they shouldn't pray these big prayers. Because I just think it's silly. There's so many people in the world and nothing is happening from one person praying. For instance, the coronavirus. I encourage you to pray those big prayers, If everyone is praying these big prayers, think what can happen. I lost my train of thought. But also I just encourage you to pray very intentional prayers. Pray very intentional, strong prayers, little prayers, big prayers. And then one tip that I have is think of, either a word, a phrase, or just some type of theme that I wanted with my relationship with God in the coming year. And you could do this with just this time during the quarantine. It could be a word, it could be whatever. It could be thoughtfulness, humbleness, openness, and to just have that in your mind when you go into your quiet times or different things like that, and helps you pray very specific prayers. For me, mine this year was openness, or for God to use me, to be more open, and for God to use me. And so I just kind of think about that a lot when I go into my quiet times, and just when I pray to God, and just, God, please help me to be open and things like that. Of course, I pray about other things too, but it's just something that I really wanted to see during this year. And I think that that's a really great thing that you could do, and you can really see amazing things happen when you do that, and when you have these really powerful and specific things that you're praying for. So that's just a little bit of advice that I have with prayer. I pray, and I hope that you continue to pray, because prayer is so very powerful, and just continue to do that. So that's all I have for you. These are all the not steps, but just tips and various things that I have for you for your relationships with God. I hope that you were able to get at least something out of this. And if you were, feel free to give this video a like if you want. And also, if there's anything you just want to talk about, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to do that, and I would love to pray with you. If you need prayer, you can leave it in a comment, and I will definitely make sure to pray for you. But I hope that you're just staying safe and you're staying healthy during this time, and I can't wait to see you soon. Bye.